As the sentimental people we are, we tend to hold on to things, or clutter, that we don't actually use or need because they're connected to memories we don't want to forget. So, how do we deal with these sentimental items as a minimalist?
So here's what's worked for me. So first tip is photos over physical things, and preferably physical photographs over digital photographs. So I like to keep scrapbooks because you can physically look through your photos of different experiences and places that you've been to versus buying something. So for example, when you go on vacation and you want to buy a souvenir or something for your family members that weren't able to go, or just for yourself if you want to remember the moment. Just imagine going on vacation and getting like a new hat, a new shirt, a magnet, a keychain, a wallet. And I'm not saying that these things are bad, but when you see that new shirt that says I love New York, you're not really gonna remember your trip to New York. Like, it's just a thing, it's a physical item. Versus you taking photos of your trip to New York and being able to look in your scrapbook of the specific restaurant that you went to, the family photo you took in front of the Statue of Liberty or something. Like, that is a memory that you can actually like physically look back on, but it's not going to clutter up your space because a scrapbook can only take up so much space. It's just going to be like on a shelf in your house, right? It's not going to be cluttering your drawers with like 50 t-shirts from every place that you've been to, you know. And I'm not saying you can't have collections. Like, obviously, if you're collecting, like, I've seen the collections of the Starbucks mugs. It's like, oh, I've been there. I personally think everyone collects too much mugs in general, so I personally wouldn't have that. But if that's your collection and that's your way of remembering all the places that you've been to, and it's something fun that you can add to your shelf when you get home, then that's great. But if it's something that's just creating clutter that you don't even use, then I really think photos over tangible items are best for having memorabilia, just remembering those special moments that we all have. Okay, my second tip is that if you must have a tangible item, then if it's not something that you can use, find a way to display it, right? So a specific example that comes to mind, my dog loves this Lammy toy that he has, okay? My dog is only 2 years old, okay? But I'm so sentimental. I'm always like, like, he's gonna be gone one day and I'm gonna be super sad, you know? Obviously, don't want it to happen anytime soon, but it is gonna happen. When my dog is gone, the way that I want to remember him is with his favorite toy. So I'm gonna like frame his favorite toy somewhere in my house. And even though I'm not physically using and like having a use for his toy, displaying it is just a way to keep that memory of him alive there. Versus if I were to keep like all his clothes, his collars, like leashes, his food bowl, like that would be clutter, right? Like, I'm not using it. It's just clutter. With situations like that where you're just like, I actually need this thing, like I really need this to memorize. I keep saying memorize instead of remember. To remember this special moment in my life or this memory, like, find a way to display it. Don't just like keep it like hidden. Like, for example, like when people have stuff in their garage, they're like, oh, like my memory, like of their kids' projects or stuff. Like, it's just clutter if it's in your garage, right? Like, you're not actually accessing it. You're not going to it and remembering your kids' artwork, right? So if you really value that, display it. And the last tip is regarding accomplishment tangible items such as like certificates, IDs, medals. I think keeping a small box is okay. Other things such as like IDs, I have all of them glued into my scrapbook because I want to remember how I looked during that time, right? So that's the way that I sort of organize like those special accomplishments, like certificates. Like, frame it up, you know, don't just like keep it cluttered like at the bottom of your closet, because then what's the point of it? It's literally, you have no use for it. Hopefully these tips were helpful and made sense, and I hope you take something away from it, and I hope you have a great day.